खांडवे सर, गुड मॉर्निंग.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
मी स्क्रीन शेअर टेस्ट करून घेऊ का एकदम?
यस सर, यस सर. यस विजिबल सर.
शो आला का स्क्रीन शो, फर्स्ट स्क्रीन?
यस यस सिस्मिक डिझाइन ऑफ वॉटर टँक क्लिअर नाव फर्स्ट लाईन.
अच्छा. आणि हे डिस्टर्बन्स येऊन राहिले का वरचे?
नाही नाही डिस्टर्ब नसतं, काही नाही. आवाज क्लिअर आहे तुमचा. थोडा
नाही.
फॅन काहीतरी वाटून आलाय, फॅन बाकी काही नाही.
हो, फॅन तर आहे. नाही, वरतं ते स्ट्रीप येऊन राहिली का, स्ट्रीप?
वरती कोणती स्ट्रीप म्हणत आहे?
ते म्यूट आणि स्टार्ट व्हिडिओ वगैरे लिहिलं असतं ना, ते ते तुम्हाला नाही दिसत ना ते?
ते आहे ना तिकडे, बरोबर आहे ना.
नाही, म्हणजे सिस्मिक डिझाइन ऑफ वॉटर टँक पूर्ण दिसून राहिला ना?
पूर्ण दिसून आला, फुल पेजवर आहे आणि साईडला तुमचा व्हिडिओ आहे छोटासा.
अच्छा.
एकदम सेटअप बढिया दिसून आला, एकदम स्पीड.
चलो, ठीक आहे, है ना?
यस सर, यस.
एकदा सुरू झाला तुम्हाला
बस 5
सांगतो.
मिनिटं सुरू करू आपण, पार्टिसिपंट लगेच जॉईन होतील आता.
हो, 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 हो. मी म्यूट करून राहिलो. हां, मग मी
यस
अनम्यूट करतो नंतर.
यस यस यस.
हो.
ओके सर. Sir. So Ugle sir, you can share the PPT and then we will start the session now.
Sir.
Very good morning to all the participants. Welcome again to this AICT sponsored 1 week short-term training program on computational intelligence in earthquake resistant design. So thank you for being with us for this second session of this second day. So here now yesterday we have started with this Rajan Wankhede sir has guided us on IS 1893. So that he has explained our part 1. So now today we have with us Dr. O.S. Jaiswal from VNIT Nagpur. So now he is enlightening us with some insights for IS 1893 part 2. So my co-coordinator Dr. Professor Ashish Ugle, I asked him to introduce the today's speaker and then the session will start.
Very good morning, sir. Very good morning. Very good morning to all. It's immense pleasure to introduce Dr. Jaiswal sir from VNIT Nagpur. I welcome all in AICT sponsored 1 week short-term training program in second session of day 2. Dr. Jaiswal, working as a professor in Department of Applied Mechanics in VNIT Nagpur. He completed his graduation from VRC Nagpur in the year of 1987. His post-graduation from ISC Bangalore in the year of 1991 and did his doctorate from ISC Bangalore in 1995. He is having vast experience in the academic as well as in the other works. Academic experience, he is having work as a research fellow in Central Building Research Institute from year 1994 to 1995. He worked in Engineering Mechanics Research Center at Bangalore as a senior research analyst from 1995 to 1997. He also worked in the University of Liverpool, UK research as a research associate for postdoctoral from 1997 to 1998. In the academic experience, he joined VRC Nagpur as a lecturer from in the year of 1998 to 2000. Then he worked as assistant professor in VRC known as VNIT from 2000 to 2008. From 2008, he is again worked as a professor in the same institute, that is Vishwesvaraya National Institute of Technology. He is having research instead in earthquake analysis of structures, dune mass dampers, stability of shells, wind response, wall chimneys, and elevated water tanks. He is also interested in the railway bridges. Research project completion, he completed many projects for dune mass dampers buildings in year 2000 to 2003 for the MHRD, having funding of 6 lakh rupees. Also worked on the seismic response control of elevated water tanks in the year of 2002 to 2005 under MHRD, having the funding of rupees 10 lakh. He's worked on the guidelines for the seismic analysis of liquid storage tank at IIT Kanpur. He's also worked on the wind response control of all RC chimneys in the year of 2006 to 2009 under the UGC, having funding of 10 lakh rupees. He also worked on the development of explanatory examples for IS 1893, IS 13902 at IIT Gandhinagar. Many of the consultancy projects under his guidance, some of these, he worked on the design of telephone exchange building at Bangalore, also on the vibration testing for the GI wall for nuclear unit. He also worked in the NECU industries at Nagpur and also worked in the area of structural design checking of water tanks for government of Maharashtra. In the area of publication in international journals, he published 19 papers. In National Journal, he published 8 papers. In conferences, more than 50 papers. He supervised 6 candidates, also 2 candidates are ongoing. In MTech projects, 60 students completed their dissertation under the guidance of Dr. Jaiswal. Out of those, 3 MTech projects received best dissertation in the year of 2008. He is having many membership in professional bodies, Institution of Engineers, Indian Associate Member, Indian Society for Earthquake Technology, Indian Society for Technical Education, Indian Association for Computational Mechanics, Indian Association for Structural Engineering, and also Alumni Association of VRC. Other achievements and responsibilities are: he worked as a member of Bureau of Indian Standard Committee on seismic design of structures and wind analysis of structures. He also worked as a member for the UG admission committee of 2000 to 2001. He also awarded by the INAE Fellowship for mentoring program in the year of 2008 to 2009 and visited IIT Kanpur for 2 months. He also worked on the executive committee member of the Indian Society for Wind Engineering in the year of 2009 to 2011. He also worked as in charge of the UG admission committee in 2009, worked as a member of core committee of Central Counseling Board CCB 2010 at VNIT Nagpur. He also worked as a head of the Applied Mechanics Department at VNIT Nagpur in the year of July 2010 to June 2002. He also having an experience of Dean Academic at VNIT in the year of 2013 to 2016. He worked as a professor in charge of student mentor program, that is SMP, in the year of July 2016 to July 2018. So we are welcoming Dr. O.R. Jaiswal to enlighten us. Welcome, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good
Yes,
morning.
sir. Please. Yes, sir. Presentation is visible.
Good morning. Khandwit sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir. You can start your video also.
Audio.
Yes, audio is clear.
What about voice?
Voice is clear, sir. Voice is clear.
Audio is there. Because when I was being introduced, I was not getting the sound properly.
No. There is a problem of internet.
Was it the case
connectivity
with
at
others
Google,
also when voice is now clear?
No,
Okay.
From your side, it is voice is clear.
Do I need? Acha, there is a problem at Agule sir, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
at
okay.
Ashish
Now,
Dubey sir,
should I
there was
keep my
problem.
video? I can put off video so that it helps in.
Okay, okay, no problem.
Yeah. I will switch off my video. That's okay. No? Yeah. Okay. So I'll start. So thank you very much for nice nice introduction. Now, as we know, in this participant, Khandwe sir, I presume most of the participants are your students.
Most of the students are from ME second year and then some PhD scholar and some faculties are there.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
Two
Nice.
faculties are there.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So, see, it is always good to talk to students.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because rate of learning is highest when you are formally a student. So from that point of view, I think this course, the student should make most use of it. You
Yes,
happen to learn, you happen to listen to many teachers which otherwise are not in regular touch with you.
Yes.
Okay, in spite of all the bad things which are happening to us during this pandemic,
Yes, sir.
one of the good things which is happening is that lot of webinars are being conducted, and by sitting at home, you can listen to many people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I myself attended on through I myself attended a convocation of IIT Bombay, which was online, and two Nobel laureates, they addressed that convocation. So you get a chance to listen to them also. I also could listen to Nandan Nilekani. He was addressing IIT Gandhinagar convocation. Okay, and many other very nice webinar series are going on different topics.
Yes, sir.
So I will urge students that they should make use of it. Okay, see, many things are bad during this time which is happening to us, isn't it? But these some of the good things which keep us engaged. Okay, and even though online teaching has also started, so those who are students, they must be busy with doing assignments and other things. Okay,
Yes, sir.
coming to seismic response of structures. Since yesterday, you must have been introduced to what happens during earthquake, how earthquake occurs, okay? And then Dr. Wankhede has taken you through IS 1893 part 1. So IS 1893 is a load calculation for various types of structures, out of which part 1 is having general provisions and certain provisions which are specific to buildings. Then I am going to discuss with you part 2, which is related to water tanks. Okay, so outline of my presentation is something like this. Okay, we'll have some general things about earthquake, including some of the damages. Then 1893, then seismic load calculations for buildings, which you have already done. So quickly in 2-3 slides, I will finish it off, and that gives us connectivity also to go for water tank. That what are the issues in water tank? Okay. And then some clauses of IS 1893 part 2. And when we talk about IS 1893 part 2, we also should mention about a document or a guidelines, which is GSDMA. GSDMA is Gujarat State Disaster Management Authority. Okay. So this was the original document based on which many provisions of IS 1893 part 2 have been taken. Okay, so that is how broadly I will take you through in next 1 hour. Water tanks have suffered damage during past earthquakes. This water tank collapsed during Bhuj earthquake. Now, during earthquake, water tanks are supposed to perform better than buildings because they are lifeline structures, They are more important structures. Water is required very much after the earthquake. Okay, so water tank should be one level more safer than a ordinary building or a normal building. There are many such lifeline structures or important structures like hospital building, okay, firefighting stations, telephone exchange, okay, electric supply installments. Okay, so all these are important structures which should be all the more safe during an earthquake. But contrary to that, we see that like this picture you are seeing on your screen, there are some terrible collapses of water tanks in past earthquake in our country. This is from Bhuj earthquake. Okay. Then another shaft supported water tank got uprooted during Bhuj earthquake again. Okay. During 1993 Kilari earthquake in Maharashtra, in Kautha village, one of the water tank had got damaged. Okay. And then apart from that, this in water treatment plant, there are ground supported structures. So in Andaman Nicobar in 2004 earthquake, there were cracks, vertical crack in the wall of a ground supported tank. Okay. And then they are get repaired like this. Okay. During earthquake, when water is filled in a tank, it sloshes. Water undergoes sloshing. So in Port Blair, this ground supported circular RCC tank, people, though there is no damage to this tank, but during ground shaking, water had sloshed from here. So that is also a good engineering information that water which was fully filled, it has sloshed from this manhole. Okay.
Please wait a while at the speaker end because of that connectivity problem. The speaker was get disconnected and again he was now connected. So the session will continue as it is again. Yes, sir. You were disconnected because of the internet failure.
Okay.
You are again connected now. Please start.
Okay. So how much time I was disconnected?
Just for a minute.
Okay. 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 So I was showing these slides. Okay.
Yeah. Again, you have to share the slide.
Okay. So I had started with damage to water tanks.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So there are instances in our country during past earthquakes wherein water
Sir, please
tanks.
share the slide again.
Acha.
Yes. Now it is visible.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I was talking about damages which have occurred to water tanks during past earthquakes in our country. This is the water tank, elevated water tank which collapsed during Bhuj earthquake. Another water tank which collapsed again during Bhuj earthquake. Okay. This is the water tank which collapsed during Killari earthquake of 1993 in Maharashtra. This water tank, elevated water tank with spiral staircase that collapsed in Kautha village. Okay. Then ground supported water tanks during Andaman Nicobar earthquake, Sumatra earthquake of 2004. There were damages to the vertical walls. Okay. And in water tank, seismic response of water tank, there is one useful or so to say interesting phenomena which occurs, that water sloshes during earthquake. So this circular water tank on the ground, there is no damage to it, okay, but from this manhole here, water had sloshed during earthquake. So that is a useful information. Okay. Then damage to the flocculator bridge during earthquake. Okay, that also happened at one place in Port Blair. Water tank to pipelines is also very common. Okay. Particularly connection of pipeline at the water tank. Okay, so that junction gets damaged. If pipeline is supported on pedestal like this, then that also gets damaged. Okay. So this type of damages should not occur because water tanks are important structures. They are lifeline structures. Okay. And they should remain functional after the earthquake. Okay. So what shall we do? What structural engineer should do? Okay, so that tanks perform satisfactorily during earthquake. Those type of issues, okay, they are discussed in IS 1893 part 2. Okay. As I said earlier, part 1 deals with general provisions and buildings, and part 2 is dealing with water tanks. Okay. Now this is what yesterday we must have seen, that earthquakes occur because of a rupture somewhere below our feet. Okay. There are some questions, so we will take that questions afterwards.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. At the end, we will take the questions.
We will take up. Somebody has asked to explain about water sloshing. We will do that. Okay, and in this lecture also, some information on water sloshing will come. Okay?
Yes.
So this is the broad description why earthquakes occur. There is some rupture somewhere here which is focused, and seismic waves travel from there, body waves and surface waves. And at this place of interest of where the structure is located, ground shakes or shaking of the ground occurs. Okay, and that is how we feel as the occurrence of earthquake. Okay. Now, at a particular place, if you record the ground motion, you will look at time history something like this. Here on x-axis your time, on y-axis your ground acceleration, and there will be a random kind of plot here. So that means ground acceleration varies abruptly or randomly or stochastically, okay, during the earthquake. Okay. Typically an earthquake lasts for 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Okay. Sometimes it may be longer than that. Okay, but typically, okay, particularly the range of severe shaking is of the order of few seconds, of the order of 30 to 50 seconds. Okay. So during this ground shaking, ground shakes randomly. For engineering purpose, we resolve it into three components: two horizontal components of ground shaking and one vertical component of ground shaking. So this horizontal component of ground shaking, they are more critical. Horizontal component is more critical. Okay. Vertical component is critical, but it is more critical. Vertical component is of more concern. Structures which have long spans, okay, long span beams, long span bridges, okay, pre-stressed structures and things like that. Okay. For ordinary structures, okay, normal structures, it is the horizontal ground shaking which is more important. Okay. So typically, this problem of calculating the earthquake load is nothing but a problem of Newton's second law of motion. What Newton's second law of motion says, that any structure which has mass, if it is subjected to acceleration, then total force acting on the structure, inertia force, will be mass into acceleration. Mass into acceleration. That is the Newton's second law of motion. Now, during earthquake, since ground shakes in horizontal direction, there is a horizontal acceleration in the structure. Okay? There is a horizontal acceleration in the structure. On any structure, be it building, be it water tank, be it bridges, be it chimneys, okay? Horizontal force will act on it. Okay? Now we have to calculate that horizontal force. Okay? Now that horizontal force calculation, okay, which is given in the code, is something like this formula. Total horizontal force is H into W. Okay? W is the seismic weight, okay, and H is the coefficient. This is same as alpha into m, that is mass into acceleration. Mass you multiply by g, it becomes weight, and alpha you divide by g, it becomes alpha by g is a non-dimensional parameter, which is H in our code. Now this H in our code is having three different components. Okay, this H is Z by 2 into I by R into SA by G. Z by 2 is zone map, Z zone factor, okay, Z is zone factor, okay, it comes from zone map. I is importance factor, R is response reduction factor, SA by G depends on structural characteristics, okay. That is different structures will shape differently during same ground motion, okay, depending on height, width, length, and all those parameters of the structure, okay. So that is the formula, okay, and yesterday you must have been introduced to this formula, okay. So for water tank also same thing continues, okay. Okay, the only thing is that you have to calculate SA by G properly, you have to use R properly, okay. For building, R is typically 3 or 5 depending on whether building is having facial moment resisting frame or not, okay. R, okay, and I for water tanks will be typically 1.5 because they are important structures, and SA by G we will have to calculate from time period. So 1893, it has the history is something like this. It was first published in 1962, then it was revised in 66, 70, 75, 84, and in 2002, and after that now 2016. Okay, so in 2002, IS 1893 has been split in 5 parts. Okay, out of which part 1 you are done, part 2 we are discussing now. Maybe today afternoon, Dr. Ingre will take you through part 3. Okay, so like this, there are different parts. Okay? So this is more detailed. 2000 part 1 was first published in 2001, then revised in again second time in 2016. Part 2 has been published in 2014. Part 3 in 2015. Okay? Part 4 in 2005 and again revised in 2013. Part 5, which is the dams and embankments, is yet to be published. Okay. So in part 2, okay, we will have importance factor I, response reduction factor, and modeling of the liquid as far as water tank is concerned or liquid containing structures are concerned. But seismic zone will come from part 1, response factor will come from part 1, load combinations will also come from part 1. So there are few things which you have to take from general provisions of IS 1893 part 1. Okay. Yeah, so this is the familiar zone map. A seismic zone map. There are 4 zones starting from zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5, and different Z factors are there for different zones. For zone 5, Z is 0.36, and for zone 2, which is the mildest zone, least severe zone, Z value is 0.1. And response factor is given like this in IS 1893, okay, for 3 different soils. So a rising arm from here to 0.1 second, then there is a flat plateau kind of thing, and then there is 1/t decrement like this, okay, up to 4 seconds. After 4 seconds, then it remains constant. This is in 2016. Okay, particularly for those for dynamic analysis. For static analysis, this initial shape is slightly different. Okay. And then for buildings, you calculate the time period using this formula, simple empirical formula, 0.09 h by root d. 0.09 h by root d. Now, when come to water tanks, okay, so for building, then you calculate Q1, Q2 by parabolic distribution of WHI square, total force. Okay. And then for buildings, there are two methods, ESA and RSA. In response spectrum analysis, you have to first perform the free vibration analysis, then calculate the coefficient H, which is denoted as AK for each mode. Then for each mode, okay, at each floor you calculate the force, calculate the floor story shear at each floor, combined story shear using SRSS, and then calculate the forces on various floors. Okay? So this one single slide describes in brief the equivalent static analysis, ESA, and response spectrum analysis for buildings. Now we move on to water tanks. So this is IS 1893 part 2 front page. Okay. So we will be talking about the modeling of the water liquid, okay, spring mass model, impulsive convective mode and things like that, hydrodynamic pressure, two mass model, okay, and this type of other provisions which are covered there. Okay. There are some issues on quality control. Okay. So this is what we have seen. I, importance factor I. So in this equation, Z is nothing to be told about it. Additionally, whatever Z is used for building, same will be used for water tank. It comes from the zone map. So depending on your location, you will have to use appropriate zone factor. Response reduction factor R. It depends on ductility and other things. Before that, I is 1.5 for tanks. Okay. So for buildings, as I said, R is 5 or 3. Okay. So for water tanks, first issue we will discuss is the modeling of the tanks. Okay. As I said, these are the two related documents. IS 1893 part 2 is based on this IITK GSDMA guideline. This guideline is freely available on the NICE website. Those of you who are interested, you can note down nicee.org, www.nicee.org. Okay, this IITK GSDMA guideline is PDF file is freely available there. You can download it. Okay, and this document is having provisions as well as commentary for that, plus about 6 to 7 solved examples are also there. Okay. In IS codes, typically there are only provisions. There is no commentary, and of course there are no explanatory examples also. But in this document, IITK GSDMA guideline, commentary is also given and these examples are also given. So typically these types of tanks are being dealt: ground supported RCC tank, ground supported steel tank, elevated tank on frame type of staging, elevated tank on shaft type of staging, underground tanks. So ground supported tank, okay, of RCC steel type, elevated tanks will have frame type staging, shaft type staging, and then underground tank. Now, one important issue as far as water tank is concerned, which we have to understand, is sloshing. If a tank is filled with water and if ground shakes, not only tank, any pot you take and shake the ground or shake the table on which it is lying, water will slosh. If ground shakes in this direction, water will slack in opposite direction. Okay. So that exerts hydrodynamic pressure on the wall. Okay. Now before going for hydrodynamic, what is hydrostatic? If suppose a circular container is filled with water, radially in all direction hydrostatic pressure is acting, but it is in all directions, so its net summation is 0. Net summation, if you sum up all the pressure in all the directions, its summation is 0. But when ground shakes in one direction, entire liquid exerts pressure in opposite direction. And in this case, net pressure in summation won't be 0. There will be some non-zero value. Okay. So in plan, if you see, pressure will be maximum at this point and opposite to that, and pressure will be 0 on perpendicular this diagonal here. Okay. So if ground shakes in this direction, liquid will have hydrodynamic pressure in opposite direction, and its distribution in plan will be like this. So what happens? Liquid sloshes. Okay. Now top portion of the liquid will slosh. Bottom portion of the liquid will move along with the tank itself, along with the container itself. So bottom liquid is known as impulsive liquid, top liquid is known as convective liquid. Okay, and this was proposed by Professor Hausner way back in 1963, and this led to this spring mass model for the water tank. Spring mass model for the water tank, in which what they said that some portion of the liquid will slosh, and that is denoted by MC. Some portion of the liquid will undergo convective motion. C is for convective motion, and remaining portion of the liquid will be rigidly connected to the tank. It will vibrate along with the tank. So that is known as impulsive mass. So we have impulsive mass, we have convective mass. Okay. Now this is what Professor Hausner had given, and this diagram which I am showing in my screen is known as spring mass model or two mass model of the water tanks or liquid storage tanks. See? Now various formulas are given to calculate MI and MC. Okay? This black and white graph I am showing is from IS 1893, in which there is one graph for MI by M. MI is mass of liquid in impulsive motion divided by total mass. MC by M, that is convective mass liquid divided by total. Okay? Now this I am showing you in colored thing, okay, for sake of clarity. Now it is a function of h by d. On the x-axis you have h by d. H by d means what? Height of the liquid, and d is the diameter. So based on the full theoretical analysis, a formula is available for MI by M, which we have plotted here. Okay? So what happens? H by d, as it increases, MI by M increases and MC by M decreases. Obviously, because MI by M plus MC by M should be equal to total mass of the liquid. Total mass of the liquid. Okay. So what does this graph say? If H by d is more, that means if you have taller and taller tank, then impulsive mass is more, convective mass is less. If you have shallower tank, if H by d is less, then sloshing is more, impulsive liquid is less. Sloshing is more, impulsive liquid. So for a shallow tank, sloshing will be more. For a tall tank, sloshing will be less. Sloshing mass will be less. That is one. Okay, this thing. Okay. Similarly, ready-made formula is available for calculating Kc. Kc is the stiffness of the convective liquid, stiffness of the convective liquid, and ready-made graphs are given, so one can use them. Okay. Now, during earthquake, when entire liquid goes in one side, the vertical pressure on the slab, it also changes. There will be more pressure vertical direction here. There will be less pressure or even negative pressure in this side, because whole liquid has gone one side. So more weight of the liquid has come on one side, less weight of the liquid has gone on the other side. Now this itself leads to another overturning effect, More liquid pressure this side, negative pressure on this side. Okay? And that also can be included. If that is included, the height of the impulsive force where it acts is denoted by HI star. If you neglect this base pressure, then that height is denoted by HI. So effect of unequal vertical distribution of pressure on the slab, that is also accounted for. And then all sorts of graphs and formulas are available to calculate HI, HC star and things like that. Ready-made formulas are available, or graphs are also available. So designer can use any one of them. So this is the standard spring mass model given by Professor Hausner, and all the parameters MC, MI, Kc, HI star, HC star can be obtained using those graphs or using formulas. Okay? Then rest of it is same. Total force is mass into acceleration. So for convective liquid, we will calculate convective time period Tc. Okay, and then since formula for MC Kc is available, it has been further simplified so that designer is having ease to use it, like Cc into under root d by g, where d is the diameter of the tank, and the Cc is given in this graph as a function of h by L or h by d. H by L for rectangular tank, h by d will be for circular tank. Okay, so that can be calculated. Similarly, now impulsive time period, that can be calculated. So impulsive time period will now depend on the stiffness of the container for ground supported tank. Stiffness of the container. So for circular tank, this is the formula given for this thing. Okay. For elevated tank, standard formula T is equal to 2 by under root m by k. So m is impulsive mass plus structural mass divided by ks. Now ks here will be stiffness of the staging for elevated tank. Okay. Now, once you know WIWC, that is weight of impulsive mass, you know time period of impulsive mode TI, time period of convective mode, then depending on in which type of soil your tank is located, you get rid of you get hold of SA by G for convective mode, SA by G for impulsive mode, okay, like that. So TI/TC, from there you can get SA by G corresponding to TI, SA by G corresponding to TC, and then you calculate AHI. Z by 2, I by R will remain same, SA by G for ith mode, impulsive mode, SA by G for convective. So once you calculate that, you can say that this is the total force which will act on the water tank. VI corresponding to impulsive mode, VC corresponding to convective. Now, traditionally, okay, since these two modes will have different frequencies, okay, they will have their frequencies will be well apart from each other. So VI square plus VC square, okay, that is the formula to be used for combining this VI and VC, combining this VI and VC. This is known as SRSS, square root of sum of parts. Okay. Okay, so for elevated tank, okay, elevated tank situation will be something like this. You have convective mass, you have impulsive mass of liquid, and then there is a whole sort of staging here. Okay, so this 2 degree of freedom model or 2 mass model. Since convective mode is having a lot of flexibility, its time period is very large. So convective mode time period is of the order of 2 seconds, 3 seconds, like that. Okay, depending on H by D. Whereas impulsive time period will be of the order of 0.8 second, 1 second, okay, 0.6 second, like that. So since those two time periods are well separated, this 2 degree of freedom system can be divided into 2 single degree of freedom system. So that you need not solve a 2 degree of freedom. Okay, you can solve 2 single degree of freedom system and get their SA by G corresponding to each one of them, and then calculate VIHI and sum them. Like that. Okay. A stiffness staging can be obtained by applying a force P and observe the diffraction delta of the staging at the CG of the container, and then stiffness of the staging will be required to produce unit deflection. Okay, so this formula is different than the formula which yesterday you must have seen for building. For building it is 0.09 H by root D. This formula is not applicable for water tank. So for water tank, you have to calculate the stiffness of the staging and then get time period. Now, this is again just repetition of that. Okay, we have seen this we have to do for once for impulsive mode, once for convective mode, okay, and then combine them. Okay. Now, damping in convective mode is very less. When water sloshes, its damping is very less. Okay, it's 0.5%. So for 0.5%, the force which you calculate for convective mode is to be multiplied by a damping factor. Is to be multiplied by a damping factor, which is 1.75. 1.75. Okay. In different codes, this 1.75 is different. Like in Euro code, it is 1.673. In ACI, American Concrete Institute code, it is 1.5. So in our code, it is 1.75. Okay. So importance factor for important tanks, it is 1.5. If tank is not very important, then it will be 1. For most of the tanks which we see in public life associated with water distribution system, I will be 1.4. Okay. So now we come to R. Okay. Now R, as per IS 1893 part 2, is for an elevated tank with moment resisting frame. Okay. Special moment resisting frame, elevated water tank. This R value is 4. This for building is 5. Okay, SMRF. If water tank is resting on OMRF, ordinary moment resisting frame, no ductility, that means this will be 2. Okay. Similarly, for shaft supported tanks also, if shaft is not having all the ductile detailing provisions, then 2.5. If shaft is having all the ductile detailing provisions, there is 2 curtains and things like that, shifting at the openings, then it will be 4. So R value for water tanks is lesser than R value for the buildings. Okay. But IITK GSDMA document, it suggests still less values. Okay. Even for SMRF, okay, whereas one part 2 is saying 4, IITK GSDMA was saying 2.5. For shaft, this is saying 2.5, so this is 1.8. So it is very less there. Okay. And that goes by international standards. Okay. Okay. Now, since IS 1893, whatever R values that were given, designer in India will have to use those values. Okay. Then we will have all sorts of horizontal forces. Okay. We will have horizontal force corresponding to convective, impulsive mass, corresponding to wall, corresponding to slab, and then add all the impulsive component, add all the convective component, and combine them using this method, which is known as SRSS, okay? Square root of sum of squares, SRSS. Okay. Wall turning can also be calculated by using wall turning effect. Okay. So this is how total earthquake load calculation goes, okay, for ISO 1893 part 2. Okay. Now, in building, you must have seen there is something like 130 load combination. Okay, particularly for those buildings which have non-orthogonal frames. Okay? Now, in case of water tank, what code says that we should analyze water tank in 2 different directions. Okay? In 2 different directions. Okay? Like suppose there is a 4-column staging configuration. If you apply earthquake force in this direction, you will get maximum bending moment in braces. But if you apply earthquake force in diagonal direction, like this diagonal direction, okay, which is shown here, okay, then you will get maximum axial force in columns. So you should analyze your water tank for most critical direction. Okay, for some standard configuration, certain guidelines are given like this, which I am showing you for 4-column. Okay, you will have to once analyze for horizontal or X or Y direction, next time in diagonal direction. Similarly for 6-column staging, 8-column staging, it continues like that. Okay. Now, we have seen, okay, now how to calculate the earthquake force. Okay, but on the wall of the container, hydrodynamic pressure will okay, on the wall of the container, okay, like this. This is the wall starting from 0 to 1, y by h, okay, y by h. Okay. Then impulsive hydrodynamic pressure will be like this. These are the graphs for different h by l, 0.25 to h by l. Okay. So this is how pressure will vary. Now for this hydrodynamic pressure, closed form expressions are given. Board has given this expression. If you are using an Excel sheet for designing the walls, you can put in these expressions, okay? Or else you can refer to this graph. How much will be the pressure coefficient, QIW? How much will be QIW? What is QIW? QIW is this, QIW into Y, okay, into this quantity. Phi is the angle at which your section exists, and QIW is given by this formula, or ready-made graph is given like this. So you can calculate hydrodynamic pressure on the wall. Now, similarly, you can calculate hydrodynamic pressure on the base also. Okay. So hydrodynamic pressure on the wall, okay, for circular tank, for rectangular tank, okay. Similarly for bases, okay. Now you come to one, okay. Similarly, you can calculate convective pressure on the wall, PCW. PCC will convective, W means wall. Okay, which is again given by some coefficient, PICW, AHC, rho, and GL. Okay, and this is QCW. Okay, close form expression is given, or this graph. So convective pressure is more on the top. The impulsive pressure variation was something like this. It was less at the top and it increases at the base. Okay, so this is the variation of pressure on the wall. So wall has to be designed for this pressure. Force which we have calculated earlier is to be designed for base shear, design base shear, or for staging design and things like that. Since impulsive pressure is curvilinear, it can be equivalent trapezoidal conversion can be done. Okay, and this equivalent trapezoid, okay, can be further divided into one rectangle and one triangle, and some of you must be aware of IS 3370, wherein base coefficients for design of a wall subjected to hydrodynamic pressure, rectangular hydrodynamic pressure, uniform pressure, or triangular variation, that is hydrostatic pressure. So those coefficients can be used to arrive at the moment coefficients for design of the wall, okay, and things like that. Okay, so this is the pressure. Okay, then because of vertical component, okay, there will be acceleration in vertical direction. The weight of the liquid will increase. Okay, so this PVY can be added like this, vertical pressure. Okay, linear. Similarly for wall, okay, and all this can be combined. Okay, now we have another 5 to 10 minutes. We'll try to finish off. You can calculate sloshing wave height, that by how much amount water will slosh. So sloshing wave height calculation is relevant so that water should not hit the roof slab. If there is a roof slab present, there should be sufficient gap between maximum water level and the roof slab. Okay, so from that point of view, this Dmax is important, and Dmax can be obtained using this simple formula where D is the diameter of the tank, R is the response reduction factor, and AHC is convective coefficient. Okay, so Dmax can be obtained like that. Okay, now some specific things related to IS 1893 part 2. Two mass model is not very difficult to use, but since it was introduced in IS 1893 for the first time, it said that for some tanks, okay, for some tanks you can still use one mass model wherein sloshing effect may not be considered, and entire liquid can be considered to be impulsive liquid. Okay. Piping, there are some cautionary notes. Okay, particularly those locations where pipe comes and gets connected to the tank, their damages occur, so some flexibility should be imparted there. Okay. Steel tanks, no, steel tanks resting on ground, particularly petroleum tanks. Okay, they are susceptible to buckling. They buckle. Elephant foot buckling, that is what is known as. So some clause is given for that also, that designer should check that buckling also. Bury tanks, some information is given. P delta effect should be considered. Okay, P delta, because in water tanks very heavy mass is at the top. Okay, it is like an inverted pendulum. Water tank water bar mass is at the top. Okay, so it is like a inverted. So lot of force acts in this top level. So P delta effect should be included. Okay. Shear transfer is what? From container to staging, wherever that joint is there, at that joint, lot of horizontal force will get transferred from container to staging. So that portion should be properly designed. Okay. Aesthetics, elevated water tanks, they are trademarks of various towns and cities. Okay. The code says that their aesthetic appearance should be good and things like that. And for that purpose, if some extra efforts are required, they should be taken up. Okay. Then there are other quality construction or quality control provisions, like minimum size of the column is 400. Unlike in building, you must have seen, or when you discuss IS 13920, in buildings, minimum column size should be 300. Here it is 400. Okay, like that. Okay. Then similarly, there are clauses for braces. Okay. Clear height between two brace levels, it should not be more than 10 times the column size. Okay. So for columns, then there are provisions for braces in elevated water tanks with frame type staging. Shaft for shaft also, shaft supported tank also. There is a clause on minimum thickness, okay, depending on in which zone you are and what is the size. There are clauses on thickness, okay, for RC shaft. Okay, reinforcement of shaft is very important. That is the one which imparts the ductility. Okay, so this type of other provisions for quality control or quality control construction is there. Okay, and that broadly covers the entire this thing which I have taken you through briefly. Okay. The other ductile detailing clauses are very much intact, like a strong column big beam, staircase. No? There should be separately done. Okay, staircase column should be detached from the main tank body. Okay. So that is what I wanted you to discuss with you. Okay. So I will stop somewhere here. Okay. So in conclusion, I'll say that this from 2014 part 2 is in practice, which is largely based on this IITK GSDMA document. Okay, so calculating the seismic load to mass model R value are different than the critical direction, hydrodynamic pressure on wall, and sloshing available. That is what is the broad coverage of this two. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I will be happy to.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So some participants have already put questions. So they are now they can type in the chat box that they will get answered.
Now, shall I see the chat box?
I think there is no question in the chat box. That one question was there, which was asked.
There is one question. One Mr. Nisarg Gandhi is asking. He has asked this question at 11:26. Please explain about water sloshing. Now, since then I have explained. Okay, it is like in Hindi there is a saying "Aadhi ghagri chalkat jaye." Aadhi ghagri chalkat jaye. Okay, so that is the sloshing. Okay. Okay, there is a problem with my connection.
Oh, it was previous comment.
Okay, so am I audible now?
Yes, sir. No, yes.
Okay.
So any participant can ask the question, and so that there will be some interaction regarding this.
I will just see if there is something in the this thing. There was some interruption. My voice is not correctly audible. Somebody has said that.
That is because of that internet connectivity at the different participant end, it was varying.
Okay. Yeah. So in online teaching, in online classes, or in online seminars, we should understand one thing.
Yes, sir.
Internet connection of speaker and internet connection of participant. Both play a role. So if internet connection of speaker is not good, then everybody will suffer.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
But if internet connection of speaker is good, but at individual level there is a problem, okay, then individual participants will face different level of difficulties. Okay, yeah. So one Mr. Syed Hussain has asked how to know whether it is OMRF or SMRF. Okay. Now SMRF means special moment resisting frame. OMRF means ordinary moment resisting frame. If your designer has followed ductile detailing as per IS 13920, okay, like a stirrup, the link, horizontal link or stirrup, if it is a 135-degree hook, then it is SMRF. If that is not done, only IS 456 is followed, then it is OMRF. So in IS 13920, apart from this hook example which I have given you, there are many other clauses in terms of spacing between two stirrups, okay, in terms of minimum depth, in terms of minimum reinforcement at top, bottom, at the center, at the corner. If all those provisions are followed, then it is known as ductile frame or special moment resting frame. Yeah. So that is those were the questions in the chat box. Other than that, if
Uh, Sir, is there any information given regarding what are the minimum dimensions of the various elements of the water tank?
yes, in IS 189, in IS 189 part 2, some clauses are given. As I said, minimum column size should be 400 mm.
Yeah.
And similarly, there are restrictions on brace size, span of the brace, okay, that is distance between two columns and things like that. The miscellaneous or quality control section of IS 1893 part 2, it talks about that. Yeah.
So thanks, sir, for giving this insight regarding the IS code provisions for design of water tank in consideration with earthquake resistant design. So thank you for being with us. And I also thanks to all the participants for the patient listening for this STTP session. So if any participant is having still some question or interaction, they can type in the chat box, or then after 5 minutes, we will end this session and we will again meet in the next session at 1 o'clock.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. I will leave the meeting. Okay. Thank you. Thanks all
Yes,
for listening
so
to
we will
me.
meet again, sir, for your next session again as per the timetable.
Yeah, it is on Thursday, I think.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the next session again, I will start 10 minutes before, and at 1 p.m. the next session will begin with the another insight for IS 1893. That is part 3 regarding bridges, and it was again very interesting to talk with Dr. Ingre sir in the next session. And in the again last session, there will be a hands-on on StatPro or ETAM by Dr. Vaidya. So we will meet again in this STTP next session at 1 p.m. So thank you once again for being with us for this session. Thanks to all.